There's this school of thought that says, come up with a realistic schedule and stick to it. Then there's another school of thought that says if you're trying to do a new habit, you have to do it every single day to make it the habit. So when it comes to exercise specifically, I've read some studies saying specifically with exercise, you want to do it every single day to create the habit. Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jen Trepic, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
I'm Jen Trepic, your host of Salad with a Side of Fries. We're back again with Stevie.
Hi.
So Stevie and I met each other, I think, years ago through Friends of Friends, and now years and years later, we're here hanging out and talking fitness today, right? So today's episode is the right time of day to exercise. And I know everybody is like on the edge of their seat for the answer.
And I'm really hoping that I hope the answer selfishly is what I want it to be, because I really only exercise at one time a day, and that is first thing in the morning. So I'm curious how that will measure up against what we're going to learn.
Yeah. So let's just start with sort of what do we do for exercise and the different types of exercise. And everybody kind of does different things. What's your favorite?
My favorite right now is probably cycling.
Like the indoor spin class thing?
Like the Soul Cycles of the world.
Yeah.
It's sort of what I'm hooked on right now. I also really love running outside. So
yeah, which is funny because running to me feels like death.
Used to for me too. So I relate, but I push past that to the place where like you're happy and weird runner's high person. So
yeah, I don't know how to do that. Like I'm pretty sure that there is form and method to running.
Yes.
And I never learned that. So I don't know. I feel like I look like Phoebe from Friends running.
Oh my God.
I mean,
that episode is so good.
So good. I don't think that's really what I look like,
I'm
but
sure
that's what
you don't.
But that's what I feel
sure
like
don't.
because I really don't know what I'm doing. So it's a combination of like feeling like Phoebe and feeling like I'm going to die that makes me think I just should not run.
We'll sidebar this, but you might have to give running another shot at some point. Just saying.
All right. So, running, regular gym, like the cardio machines, right? The elliptical, the treadmill. A lot of people just walk,
Especially if you live in New York City, that's a very easy and entertaining way to
I have a friend who dances, like it. She does all
like
different kinds of dance.
Or like
no, so
dance.
Yeah, so guys, 305 is a cardio dance
party
chain. Yeah, it's a workout. I think it's a franchise.
Yes,
and don't they have like a live DJ in the room?
They do, and it's like a dance party, but it's in a dark enough room where you don't feel silly, and they have you kind of just jump around the room and burn a lot of calories because you're literally jumping up and down for an hour, and it's still super fun. So.
Which is different than Zumba. Zumba is like, we're going to teach you like.
It's not that.
Yep.
It's follow the leader. If you don't get it right, it doesn't matter. It's dark in here.
Right.
That's both worlds.
And then there's like boxing gyms seem to be like a huge thing right now. Boot camps.
I like that sometimes too.
Yeah. Change it up. A lot of people swimming, a personal trainer. If you know me, I am totally obsessed with a crazy bar workout. It's ballet bar, B-A-R-R-E, not bar, B-A-R. Although I do like the regular bar after the ballet bar.
Okay.
When you go at night, maybe not in the morning, but I'm not opposed to a daytime cocktail, but
Oh, that regular bar. I was like, is there a different class? I was like, you mean bar method?
Right. So there's a lot of different ballet bar classes out there. The one that I go to is it's typical bar. I call it bar method on crack. It's like bar method meets high intensity interval training.
Okay.
So here's the deal. Find something you like. It doesn't really matter what it is. The guideline when it comes to type of exercise, right? Mm-hmm. You just need to make sure you're getting strength to build muscle because muscle dictates metabolism. You guys are going to hate me for saying it like every single episode, but it's really important. Yep. Muscle dictates metabolism. So strength training to build muscle. Cardiovascular to use your heart as a muscle.
Yep.
and flexibility so that we have functional muscle, right? You know, like the bodybuilders who like can't lift their arms over their head. Like if you have to put something on a high shelf, that muscle means nothing.
Right.
So flexibility training, stretching is what allows us to have functional muscle.
Yes.
So those are the three components of our exercise that we must include. Having said that, I think one of the biggest misconceptions around exercise, especially exercise for weight loss, is cardio. Like they used to say cardio is king. It's not. If muscle dictates metabolism and I want to be burning fuel, then what I need is muscle.
Yep.
The objective of cardio is to use your heart as a muscle. It's a very important muscle, but you can get your heart pumping without having to do quote unquote cardio.
Yes.
Without having to run, without having to spin, without having to be on an elliptical for 4 hours or walk for 4 hours, right? Yeah. Conversely, if all you're doing is walking and you're never getting your heart rate up, I mean, the walking is great, you're moving your body, but that's not giving you the cardio that you need to use your heart as a muscle. And we have some interviews with like fitness people coming up that will expand on all of that. But that's sort of the foundation of types of exercise, right? And why we work out is a whole deep dive onto itself.
I was like, there are a lot of
also,
reasons. Yes.
You know, I mean, there are the health benefits, sure.
Yep.
And for a lot of us, it comes to, you know, I think a lot of what brings us there is our weight and our health. And, you know, sitting is the new smoking, that whole thing, right? But the reason for exercise is so much more important than that.
I agree. I think that a lot of times what got me into exercise was definitely wanting to lose weight. But what keeps me exercising on a daily basis is it makes me feel more mentally clear, more energized for the day, more really ready to kind of take on any challenge. It's very representative of overcoming that workout is like overcoming that work day, overcoming the challenges that you're experiencing day to day.
Well, that's how it got the name workout. You were supposed to go work out all the stress and the stuff and like work it out, like get it out of your body. Sense. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
Who knew? Little known fact. Right. But the health benefits, there was a study years ago. I wish I could find it to give it to you. But anyway, there was a study that was saying for about 4 hours after a workout, your immune system is boosted significantally.
Okay.
So that in turn makes me crazy, where I always work out before getting on an airplane.
Yep.
Because I'm
after
like
getting off of an airplane.
Yeah. And it's like boosting your immune system immediately. But there's also, it improves your longevity, your mood, the stress thing. I used to say to people, like, I exercise so I don't kill anyone.
Yes.
Right.
You don't want to know me when I don't work out. You just don't. I'm not that pleasant.
Yeah. And, listen, endorphins that are released when we exercise.
It's a thing.
It's the happy feeling, and it's actually scientifically similar in the body to morphine. So, like, we think of morphine as like a painkiller. So, like, your whole body is in a better place, doesn't feel the impact of things in the same way, maybe. I always think of, like, Legally Blonde.
I like that.
Right? Where she's like, endorphins make you happy, and happy people just don't kill their husbands, right? And then I was actually in a workout class, so shout out to Chad Levy, one of my favorite fitness instructors. He said in a class, for the sake of the world, work your glutes. But it's true. It's right. Like, we're all better people if we have endorphins and we exercise. So obviously, for the sake of our planet and the world, like, you have to work out.
Yes. Yes, I do.
But so we know what we're going to do. We know why we're motivated to do it. But so when are we going to do it? Right? So what's your preference? Everybody has their, like, preferred time of day.
So I like to wake up first thing in the morning and get to the workout first. It's the first thing I do. It's what I do before I take a shower. And then I sort of take the day on from there.
Yeah.
How about you?
So it's funny. My time of day depends on my schedule.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I was working full time for years, I only worked out at night. I felt better, especially having my own business on the side and working full time. It was like I could work out and be a new person when I left. It was like all the stuff from the day of the office didn't
Yep.
come with me into my life or my business. It was like, you know.
It was almost like a barrier. between the
Exactly.
two.
It was like the
Makes sense.
separation. And then as schedules changed, I was going sometimes in the morning and sometimes at night. And I don't know. I find benefits for myself both times. For me, the issue is if I don't go at all.
Yes.
Right? I'm not a good person. But I mean, I'm not a bad person, but I'm just a different human. I'm different.
Better. You're better
Right.
when you get to
Right.
do the thing you like to do.
Exactly. So the bottom line to all of this really, as I was diving into research for this, you will find data to support whatever your preference is, right? There is research for and against morning and evening workouts, right? So let's just sort of talk through like the pros and cons so that we can figure out for ourselves what the right time of day is. So in the morning, like you were saying, you know, it helps you like take on the day.
Yep.
Right? A lot of times for people, it's the way they make sure it happens because the day doesn't get in the way yet.
Yep. Exactly.
You know?
Nothing's going to come up at 6 a.m.
Right. I don't know how much I buy into this, but there's research to say you burn more throughout the day if you start the day with exercise.
Okay.
There's research, you know, as far as post-exercise has better impact on your energy than caffeine.
Love that.
Right? For some people, and of course there's research to support that you make healthier food choices throughout the day.
For me, I definitely do because I don't want to counteract the work I just did. But that's a mental game I play with myself.
Yeah. And some people sleep better working out in the morning instead of at night.
Yep. Okay.
You know, there's this thing called excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. And it's kind of like this thing in the fitness industry right now. But basically, it's that your body burns more calories after your workout, even when you're sitting, doing nothing, at your desk, whatever. And duh. I don't know how else to say this.
Yeah.
You know, the fitness, whatever. Excess post-exercise oxygen consumption is this. But the truth is, I don't know that that's so different morning versus evening. I think that's just a thing with exercise.
Yeah. So then if in the evening, I'm guessing you burn more calories while you sleep.
Right. I mean,
yeah. So
I don't know.
I think you get that benefit probably no matter when you work out.
Yeah. Some of the drawbacks some people say about working out in the morning is that essentially you're working out on cold muscles.
Okay.
So you want to take maybe an extra minute to warm up.
Okay.
So that you don't, you know, injure yourself. And the other piece about a morning workout is that you might want to think about your pre-workout nutrition the night before.
Okay.
So that it's sort of like having the healthful dinner, you know.
To fuel the workout
To fuel it.
ahead. Right.
You know, some people don't get as much sleep because they're waking up super early.
I'm probably guilty of that.
Right. I mean, I was when I was working out in the morning.
Yeah.
And there were some days where I would work out like a Monday night in the evening and a Tuesday morning.
Right.
So I know all of the experts out there are like, that's the worst thing ever. Like, whatever. It's my sanity. What can, you know, I'm human. Okay.
Fit it in when you can.
Right. But, you know, it makes it sort of extra challenging when you're
to get enough sleep and to get probably the ideal amount of recovery time.
Exactly.
So
that was bad on both levels.
Yes. I mean, I actually did that for a while also and sort of forced myself to stop doing it on a regular basis. I always was doing this Wednesday night class and then a Thursday morning class. And eventually my body I listened to my body and I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
I need more time than that in between workouts. So
yeah. And speaking of classes, like this kind of goes back to what we were saying before. I have to do group fitness these days.
Me too.
Like going to a gym, I'm like, oh, somebody tell me what to do. You know?
And it's the accountability of knowing that you paid for this class, you signed up for this class.
Oh, that damn cancellation policy.
I know. And once you start going, you know people. And so you know that they're going to hold you accountable as well. So
And it's like this community around fitness. Like, you know, half of the people joining me on this podcast are people that I know through my fitness life or, you know, and listen, you guys, a lot of times you guys as listeners recommend this podcast to people you know from working out, you know?
Exactly.
So it's that community around our exercise that I think is really important.
And it's really awesome, actually. Like, if you had told
Yeah.
me 5 years ago you'll make friends at the place where you work out, I would have told you you're crazy. Totally happened.
Right. I would say some of my closest friendships
Me too.
are people that I've met through where I work out.
Yep, me too.
All right. So back to when we're working out. So that was sort of like the pros and cons of your morning workout. So let's talk about the late afternoon, evening, post-work, usually, workout. Or maybe it's even like post-bedtime, right? Like if you have to get your kids to bed, maybe your only hour or 30 minutes or 15 minutes is, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. I actually know a lot of guys who do like a 9, 10 p.m. workout. Anyway, so pros of it, right? Like you can sleep in the morning.
Yep, definitely.
Right? Maybe you're easier able, you sleep in. Maybe you're going to bed later. You don't have to think about what you're wearing the next day or setting that stuff out, There's, like I said, you can find research that says anything. So hormones are different later in the day.
Okay.
Literally, you guys, I read studies that said your testosterone is higher later in the day. I read other studies that said your testosterone is higher in the morning. So, like, who really knows?
So it's a work in progress and nobody really knows yet.
Right.
That's what you're telling me.
I think people are different. You're going to gravitate toward a time of day that works for you.
Right.
So some say, this one study was saying morning is the ideal time to knock out your strength training versus the afternoon is maybe better for cardio.
Okay.
Because of sort of like oxygen in your body, whatever. I don't know. You do you. Figure it out. People say flexibility is better later in the day because you're not cold, right? Like you've been using your body all day in some way, maybe you're better fueled for the workout because you've eaten throughout the day.
Right.
And, as much as people say, I have to eat better or working out in the morning makes me make better choices. For some people, it might be that I still have to work out today, so I don't want to eat like a heifer and then have to go like, right.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point.
Like I remember there were some days where I was going to an evening class and I might be hungry later in the afternoon, but I didn't want to eat something either too big or too unhealthy or whatever, because then it's like, the beginning of the class, you go to do a push-up and it's like, it's all going to come out.
Yep.
Right. So this thing about, our stress and whatever. So a lot of times for people, the post-work helps that, like we were saying before. Right. And some people say that, because later in the day, there maybe isn't the same time crunch as working out in the morning, that they feel like they get a better workout or they can do more of what they wanted to do.
Right. No, that makes sense.
By going later in the day.
I'm like they're rushing.
Right.
I spend my mornings rushing. It's worth it, but I definitely am on the clock already.
Yeah. And then sometimes, if your dinner is post-workout, maybe your dinner is healthier because you've just worked out. And a lot of times they say too, like, especially right after a vigorous workout, maybe your appetite is not as big. So maybe it's a lighter dinner.
Yep.
There was a study that was talking about like making healthier choices working out in the evening. And I was like, no, that's just because you spend so much time at the gym, there's less time to drink. Right?
True.
I don't know if that's real. Yeah. I don't know if that's just my assessment.
It does sort of mean, I've had other friends who like to work out in the evening say that one of the reasons they like it is because it deters them at least a few nights of the week from dinner plans, happy hour plans that they otherwise might fall into that they don't really want to do, but if they had nothing else to do after work.
Right. They're like, okay, fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So drawbacks to the evening workout, for some people, it makes it harder to sleep. Like it raises your internal body temperature, which can be a challenge, for some people for going to sleep. But then there's also studies that say like working out later also improves sleep. It really depends. I think it depends on your body. And, nighttime exercise releasing the endorphins. Maybe you're like too wired, so to speak, to go to sleep.
That's how I feel sometimes. But I think everyone is definitely different from that respect.
Yeah. And then, I think maybe a challenge of working out later is that it requires you to sort of properly fuel throughout the day so that you can go to that workout and make the most of it.
And make sure
People
you
say-
get there.
Yeah.
Because you have a whole day worth of things that could get in the way.
Exactly. And, some people say they work out harder at the end of the day because of all of that pent up
Right.
like stress and kind of, like we were saying before, work it out. But if you never get there, it does nothing.
Right.
So where does this leave us? Right?
Yeah.
Like, bottom line, what time of day do we exercise? The answer is, I don't care. Right? Whatever time of day you will do it is the right time of day to exercise. If that means going at lunch, go. If that means, waking up at 5 a.m., do it, but make sure, you're compensating appropriately. Like, if that means you're going at 9 o'clock at night, go. But again, just being aware of maybe some of the impact of the time of day, you can make some choices around that support it.
Right. And I think at the end of the day, probably from my perspective, I think consistency is the most important thing. So if you're scheduling a workout at a time where you're going to be consistent with it, then that is probably the right time to schedule it versus doing it at the quote unquote right time and doing it once a week.
Exactly. So consistency is king, right?
Yep.
And there are, when you talk about a new habit, like maybe you don't exercise every day like us crazy New Yorkers, and so maybe this is a new thing, or maybe you used to and it sort of fell off because life. And then, you're trying to get it back into your habits and your routine. So when it comes to new habits, like everything, there's the school of thought that says, come up with a realistic schedule and stick to it. Then there's another school of thought that says if you're trying to do a new habit, you have to do it every single day to make it the habit. So when it comes to exercise specifically, I've read some studies saying specifically with exercise, you want to do it every single day to create the habit.
Okay.
And my rationalization of that, and this is not the study, this is not fact, this is my opinion.
Yes.
I think maybe it's doing it every day, creating that consistent release of the endorphins and all the hormones around the exercise creates the addiction to that feeling that allows you to then stay consistent with it, even if it's not every day after that.
Yes, I would agree with that. And I think that I've probably, at this point in my life, found the most consistent routine that I've ever had. And I definitely started it by doing it every day. And now I don't. I definitely take rest days, and I definitely have days where I listen to my body and take the day off. But
yeah, like not every day is the workort of your life.
No, but doing something, moving my body every day, just it holds me accountable. It makes me feel better. And I just think it makes it easier to kind of maintain it.
Yeah. And another rule of thumb, like you're saying, maintain it. The way muscle works on the body, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yep, sure do.
So consistency, figure out what time of day, do it. Figure out what you like to do. Like, by God, if you hate running, don't run.
Yes.
Like, don't find what's interesting to you. Find what you enjoy and run with that. No pun intended.
Love it.
And the other thing I would say in terms of consistency is if you can separate your weight from the workout, you will stay with it a whole lot longer. You will enjoy it a whole lot more. And I think that's why, the community around it and the endorphins and all these other things can be so helpful to see the benefits of exercise, is that it, helps you stick with it, because ultimately it's about our health and our well-being and longevity and energy and functional muscle, so that, we and bone density, whatever. I could go on and on. But so that's it, guys. The right time of day to exercise is whatever time of day you can.
I love it. Yep, I love it.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.